Are we live? Are we live? Let me check, make sure we're live. Let me turn my phone on silent. We are live. Bam, bam, bam. It's Giants game day. Waiting on Danny King's old dumbass. There he is.
Only 15 seconds. Only 15 seconds.
Well, I started 2 minutes late. So 2 minutes and 15 seconds. We're live for another Giants game day. How's everybody doing? Ready to roll, says Jay Money, Jeffsky, Matt, Cade, Mark, amazing guy, Jenkskis, Joey, Issa, Mark, Mike Nixon. We got everybody in here. How's everybody doing today?
Whole crew.
Excited for another Giants game day. And a very winnable game for the New York Giants. Don't count this Panthers team out, but this is a very winnable game, and 2-0 is not unrealistic for the New York Giants, and I'm very excited about that. Danny, how you doing on this beautiful Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time I was excited for back-to-back Giants games. I was excited last week, and now I'm excited again. That's how I would like it to be for a good chunk of the season. But yeah, a very winnable game, but it also feels like some people are just sleeping on the Panthers, actually, just because they lost their game against the Browns. They could just easily be beat. You can't go into a mindset, especially the defense looked great last week. The offense was a little bit meh.
So we talked about it on Friday, but out of the next 3 weeks, I think this is the toughest matchup for the Giants, and very excited. But the Giants are still devoid of talent in a lot of positions. So we'll get into your questions here in a second. So Matthew Johnson asks, so is Toney playing or what? And I'm starting to regret not taking Kadarius Toney last in the fantasy draft this week because he is active. We always knew, we figured he was going to be active. But as we get closer, I'm like, man, maybe there is an actual plan for this guy to play. But I don't know. I'm not putting any expectations on Toney's snap count this week until I see it. Like they only played him 7 snaps last week. They did that for whatever reason. So I'm just not putting huge expectations on Toney.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't put expectations on him until the coaching staff shows they're going to use him in a way that benefits this offense. They just keep him on the sideline. But when he was in last week, he made plays. He didn't disappoint when he was on the field. So they got to find a way to get.
Yeah, he had the most yards per snap on the team.
It's so frustrating.
I would assume. The Belgian guy says, what do you think about Flott starting? I don't know what to think about that. He wasn't an outside corner in LSU, and he was always going to be a raw guy who needed time to develop, but he's going to get trial by fire. So I don't know. I'm now he's got good speed and ability to spring out of a stance. So I think Robbie Anderson is a tough but fair matchup for him because, Robbie Anderson is not the best wide receiver in the world. He's not going to destroy you with route selling stuff. He's kind of a boomer bust type of wide receiver. So I don't know what to expect out of Cordell Flott. Like, he is fast, he's long, he can hang with outside corners, like athletic, with his athletic profile. But I don't know. Like, I was just convinced it was going to be Fabian Moreau.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think Robbie Anderson, he's not a world beater, but this is a quality matchup for Cordell Flott to have in his first NFL game. But it also just shows that, because Aaron Robinson's out of an appendix injury. He had his appendix removed. Like, if we lose any corner for any amount, if we lose Adoree Jackson for any,
if we lose Adoree Jackson,
we are screwed.
Yeah, there's nothing this defense can do
because it goes from Aaron Robinson to Cordell Flott, and it's like, wow, our secondary is so bad.
Yeah, Adoree Jackson, you can argue that no player being out would mess up the Giants more. Like, you could say Andrew Thomas, but having no Adoree Jackson would be pretty rough. Okay. Yeah, I expect Robbie Anderson to get a lot of looks this week. Let's see. Does Timon Fox get a sack on a corner, or does he stay quiet? I mean, I don't expect Timon Fox to do much now because of the Aaron Robinson injury. They're not calling up Quincy Roche this week because they can only do 2 practice squad call-ups. So it's Fabian Moreau and Tony Jefferson. So, but Timon Fox got a good amount of snaps last week, and he did get a sack on Ikem Ekwonu last year. So I'm excited for that. Like, Timon Fox, he put up a lot of college production, and now he goes against a guy who he got a sack on. He got 2 sacks versus NC State. One wasn't really on Ekwonu, but one was he just totally beat Ikem Ekwonu.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be exciting to see how Timon Fox matches up against Nkwonu. I'm just excited to see what Wink Martindale draws up on defense today to try and just mess with Baker, because this is a quarterback I feel like Wink Martindale can have fun with.
Yeah. But with this quick game Panthers offense, it can be either hell for Baker or because Baker's best when he's improvising and they might screw up some initial looks. I don't know. Baker's going to be boom or bust today. I don't see him being in the middle. Like Baker's had good performances versus Wink Martindale, and he's had disaster performances versus Wink Martindale. So he is healthy. He wasn't healthy when he played Wink Martindale last, so that's not really a great barometer of what his play is. And again, this offense is totally, totally different. Like it was the same Ben McAdoo offense that we all know and despise. Like it was quick game, quick game, quick game, quick game. So, and I still hate Ben McAdoo, by the way.
I don't know how people cannot hate Ben McAdoo. If you're a Giants fan, you don't hate Ben McAdoo. I don't think you're a Giants fan. I'm just gonna be
there's still people like, well, he wanted Patrick Mahomes, and he did tell the organization that it was time to move on from Eli, and they didn't want to listen. Yeah, but I don't care. You bench Eli Manning for Geno Smith. I hate you.
That's where the issue lies.
That's the way it goes. It's really that simple. Thank you. Cool to see you live. We go live every Sunday morning. Last season we did in week live streams. I don't know if maybe we'll continue to do that. We didn't do it last week, or last year we did that. Last week we didn't do it. Let's see, what do we got? Give us some questions. And Daniel Jones, have a bounce back game. Look better. You don't need to have, amazing stats, but just look better. Create explosive plays, not just, that one to Shepard. So
I'm rocking the DJ jersey today. I believe in him.
There you go. Super toss versus I can see more 3 safety sets now that we're playing CMC. I agree with that 100%. I talked about it on the Friday show and on that Bleacher Report live stream yesterday. Thank you to anyone who supported that. It's cool for that to happen. One, Austin Calitro adds really nothing. I was surprised to see 2 tackles for a loss. I think it might have been I think they both might have been on like the that speed sweep to Chiga Okonkwo. I forget. I think that's how he's pronounced his name. The tight end out of Maryland. Remember they did the tight end sweep on that 3rd down?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I just saw a different video. I just completely blanked out. But no, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then the Wildcat fumble snap. So he had 2 tackles for a loss, which is like that's awesome for one game. But I wasn't impressed with him. So Austin Cletcher doesn't add much, so go to 3 safety sets. That's what Wink Martindale likes to do anyways. Let Tony Jefferson come and play down in the box. You move Xavier McKinney and Julian Love down, here and there. And also, Justin had a tweet this week that Xavier McKinney played more box snaps than he did in his entire career. He had more blitzes than he'd had in a game ever. So they're going to use him down the box, and I think that's a good way to counter Christian McCaffrey in the receiving game. I'm really not worried too much about him in the running game, but the receiving game I'm worried about.
Yeah, receiving game, he could easily eat this defensive line, because if you're relying on this linebacker group to attempt to slow down Christian McCaffrey, your game plan's flawed for the start. So definitely the free safety looks the way to go.
Dane Belton is back too, which is
crazy.
So in training camp, they use him as a deep safety on 3 safety sets, and they would have like Love and McKinney deep. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see too much of Belton today, to be honest. I think he's going to play special because they like Tony Jefferson, and Tony Jefferson wasn't on this team at the beginning of camp. They like Tony Jefferson as that box, money backer, dime linebacker. So I don't think we're going to see too much of Dane Belton today. But he is a player in college where he played everything. He played deep. He played the box. He played nickel. I thought his best position was playing nickel. Obviously, I don't want him facing nickel wide receivers in the NFL or slot wide receivers in the NFL, but I can see him covering some tight ends. So if we see Dane Belton, I think it'd be more towards the line of scrimmage than deep.
Yeah, and especially with also Tony Jefferson, it just makes sense to rock Tony Jefferson for a little bit longer. And plus, Dane Belton, we know he's a good player, but he missed a good chunk of time with that. It was a collarbone he had, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, broken collarbone.
So you don't got to rush him back, and especially in a game where you need all your safeties like on their game with this Panthers, especially how we think they're going to do free safeties against CMC. I don't want Dane Belton out there right now.
Yeah. I just think they like Tony Jefferson too. It's really simple.
I mean, that's Wake's guy.
Let's see. Let's get some more questions. Saquon's actually on TV right now on ESPN. Dude, by the way, I'm so pissed that the Chargers scored that touchdown at the end of the game. I was like being like, man, me and Danny
Oh yeah,
continue to
yeah.
dominate.
I was legitimately pissed off.
I was just like, son of a bitch. Are you serious right now?
It
I was thinking about like how long will me and Danny go undefeated on Thursday Night Football at this season? And it's like, no.
And then Justin Herbert just decides to throw like missiles when he can't physically move in the pocket with his broken rib cartilage.
And I was playing Josh Palmer in fantasy football, and he threw it to Josh Palmer. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me right now, you son of a bitch.
You're trying to get it to your heart.
Is Wandale active? No, he was listed out on Friday. Yeah. Let's do hit us with some questions, and let's go through our let's see who the inactives are. I think the inactives are going to be pretty simple because, well, let me look up last week's.
Yeah, I mean, last week we didn't have to do much to put 2 and 2 together.
Well, last week was a lot because there wasn't a ton of guys.
No, yeah, sorry, that was a lot. Last week was a lot because we had to figure out who would be inactive. This week we got the idea.
Let's see. Last week it was 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there was 7 because you got to be 48 guys on the roster, and they have the 2 practice squad players. So the guys who are out, Justin Pinnock, I believe, is one.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up the list right now. Aaron Robinson, Wandale Robinson's out. Nick McLeod's out. Jason Pinnock's out. That's 4. Aziz and Kayvon, I would expect to be out. So that's 6. So one more. The thing is, though, is the reporters were saying that Darius Slayton was out there like kind of like in that pregame workout that the inactives do. But he was by himself with Davis Webb because all the other guys are injured. So there's only one healthy scratch today. And so I think it's going to be Darius Slayton, even though I'd rather it be like, Tyree Phillips.
Yeah, no, I agree with
or Antonio Williams.
Yeah, for some reason, I think they will do Darius Slayton again, which, I mean, like, I get, but I don't get at the same time. And I would rather one of those 2 offensive linemen be out because I still think Darius Slayton could contribute to this offense, obviously.
Yeah, they just don't – they like David Sills.
They like David Sills. They just don't like giving Kadarius Toney any snaps. I mean, hey, I'm not an NFL coach, but I do.
Maybe this coaching staff just hates fast players.
That might be true. They just want some slow guys out there running this offense.
They're like Kenny Galladay, David Sills, Richie James, our slowest slot receiver. Let's do it.
That's a good. What we're going to see out of Kenny Galladay today. First home game. We know the fans aren't big fans of Galladay right now. If he has a bad game, he's going to.
He had a bad game last week, and Brian Dunleavy had this tweet today that I saw. He said, "Let's see. Early this week, I heard Giants were looking to expand Kadarius Toney's usage at expense of cutting into Kenny Galladay's snaps. It would support Dable's certain personnel and certain plays game-to-game mindset, but then Toney injury happened, and I'm less certain his role is big." So they're not super happy with Kenny Galladay, and I get it. Like that, he didn't add much last week.
Yeah, no.
He had one catch that was nice on a sit route on second down, and then the other one was at the end of half where they just cleared. They had like 3 guys clear out, and he was the drag underneath that Daniel Jones hit. So I don't know. Part of me is being like, Kadarius Toney's going to play. He's going to get a handful of snaps, but I would be shocked if he had more than 20 snaps.
Yeah,
is what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean,
I just play over a third of the snaps.
Yeah, I mean, I just opened Twitter, and I guess Dave will confirm Toney will be active. So
yeah, he's going to be active, but I just don't know
how they use him.
How many?
It's just going to be interesting, and yeah, I'm just intrigued to see how Kenny Galladay performs. Oh, obviously, are they going to give him the targets, or just Toney cut into them this week? We don't know, but it would be very interesting to see how Kenny Galladay is received.
And lost in all of this Kadarius Toney stuff because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. And then the injury pops up on Wednesday practice. Lost in all of this is simply he's our like best weapon on the offense outside of Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
And so he's our best weapon in the receiving game. So it's so frustrating because it's like that he has the talent and the ability to play. And it wasn't just like people say. I hate when people say, "Oh, well, Toney was just good in one game." He was awesome in one game, but he was really good in the Saints game. He was actually pretty solid in the Bucs game. Like he was the only guy. I think he led the team in yards in that game. I think he was second on the team might have led the team in wide receiver receptions. That Rams game, he got injured, but on that first drive, he had 3 catches for like 40 yards. like 3 out of the first 5 passing plays were throws to Kadarius Toney, and it looked like he was just going to totally take over that game, and then gets hurt. So the injuries, the behind the scenes stuff, it's just so frustrating because he's got all the talent in the world.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's see. Who do you think has the best chance of catching their first Giants touchdown today? Toney, Galladay, Bellinger. I actually think Bellinger because you get down to the 3-yard line and you're doing plays like that Chris Myrick play. So you run play action. So I actually, and it's not even like a huge shot at Toney or Galladay. It's just more like Bellinger is more likely to get a touchdown in the red zone, where Toney and Galladay are more likely to get touchdowns from the 30-yard line. So what's more realistic? You get a touchdown from the 3-yard line or the 30-yard line?
No, I agree 100%. I have more faith in did Bellinger get a touchdown first. Yeah, obviously there's that with Toney too. I just refuse to believe Kenny Galladay will ever catch a touchdown as a Giant, so that's why I go Bellinger.
Eli Bittner just told us that Jordan put out a tweet about Toney snaps. Let's see what it says.
Yeah, he said basically expected to still be have limited usage.
Toney was listed questionable and looked good on Friday. The expectation with Toney was his usage would still be limited even before his hamstring flared up. Needs a consistent practice reps before he's getting a more full-time role. Expect to see him in certain packages. So we're okay. So I now expect him to get less than 10 snaps.
Yeah. Oh, that right there tells you less than 10 steps.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
Inactives. Oh, Darius Slayton's active. How about that?
How about that? Cow. They're actually Darius Slayton 1 snap now.
Let me tweet it. Danny, answer a question while I tweet this.
All right, I got you. Let's see. Questions. Am I related to Peyton?
Maybe the guy that asked you to blow your nose.
I'm stuffed up, guys. I don't know what you always. I can't hear out my left ear right now.
Blow your nose live. You can't hear out of your left ear. Were you on a plane?
No, it's weird. I don't know what's going on with my left ear. More snaps.
Hold your nose and blow and blow.
There's something I'm on like some antibiotic now for it. I don't know what's going on. Is more snaps Slated or Toney? Ooh.
I'm gonna say
Toney. Yeah, probably
Toney. I don't think Darius Slayton's gonna get any snaps. If you can,
let's see. I never paid much attention. Can Galladay block, or at least block by wide receiver standards?
He's if he not tries, great at it, but like with the whole effort thing on Galladay, like the Saquon touch run where he fumbled, who was the one guy that was sprinting at full speed, down the field?
Oh, DJ rushing yards. DJ rushing yards 23.5 over or under.
I'm gonna say
under. Yeah,
I think he had 24 last week. Teams are just playing the read option with the New York Giants now, because that's on the scouting report for Daniel Jones, and the interior of the offensive line isn't good, so I just don't see much like great scrambling ability. And the majority of his rushing yards last week came on that like one of the last plays before the half.
Timothy asked, we're gonna see Ojulari and Tibbs next Monday. I say each week it increases. We see them.
I think Thibodeau. There's a shot, with because the injury diagnosis on the MCL sprain. Azeez, I have no clue. It's just a hamstring injury. There's been no details more than that, so I have no idea when we're gonna get Azeez back.
Hopefully soon.
So yes, Darius Slayton is active. How about that?
What a world!
Happy for the guy. I'm not expecting to get any snaps though.
I'm about to say I'm sprinting to DraftKings. I'm hitting a Darius Slayton touchdown.
Really?
No, I just be willing to lose money.
Yeah, it's a good way. I feel like just getting those just going for like those put $5 on like some random guy to get a touchdown or the first touchdown.
Exactly.
Let's see.
I agree with Sarkod. Special teams got to do better covering kickoff and punts. They sucked last week in slowing down the Panthers. That fast little guy they had back there.
Yeah, I just don't pay attention to special teams.
No, I mean that's fair, but it was like really bad last week, especially by McGahee standards.
Laviska is inactive, so I think that means that Shi Smith will be good to go. I know he was questionable.
That's disappointing to hear. Not gonna lie.
The guy who keeps on asking about guys being active, just go to the Twitter list. Let's see. Yeah, we hit 20,000. Appreciate all you guys supporting us. Tony to Saquon watch. Tony. Someone said Tony. Did I accidentally put that guy in timeout?
No, he's still there.
Nope, it's there. Sorry, I thought I pressed the button on accident. I'm kind of like, I don't care about Kadarius Toney throwing the ball. Like those plays almost always end up in Toney just scrambling. I think there's one time he threw it, and it was the Sterling Shepard versus the Chiefs last year.
I think we just still have fond memories from when Odell did it twice back in 2018. He did it against the Panthers. Funny enough, it was Odell to Saquon, and then he did it against the Bears. Yeah, I don't think a single one of those plays has worked with Toney.
Teams just are like good versus special, like those trick plays. Like they're just too disciplined. Like whenever it does work, I'm surprised. Whenever a trick play works, I'm very surprised because it's just teams play disciplined. DJ going to go off against. Oh yeah, I forgot this is his childhood team.
Guess what? This might be his team next year because the Panthers keep rotating quarterbacks.
Let's see. So, and I just want to see people are talking about Daniel Jones. I just want to see Daniel Jones play well. Not have a good box score. Just be like, walk away from the game, and any reasonable person's like, man, that was a good game by Daniel Jones. Not debating and like, well, look at this stat and look at the offensive line. Like, I just want to walk away from this game being like, Daniel Jones played a good game.
Yeah,
I would assume that the Panthers are going to try and stop the run. Like you see what happened last week. You probably want to put a more emphasis on stopping the run. Obviously, like Saquon is Saquon. If they stack the box versus him and there's nothing he can do, then there's nothing he can do. But Daniel Jones, whether you're playing 2 high safeties, 3, a single high, you can throw the ball against everything. So, it's just different. So I just want Daniel Jones to play well. Over under Kenny Golladay 3 catches. I'm gonna say under.
I'm gonna say over. Probably won't be a lot of yardage, but I'll say over.
We'll see. Bob Clinton, I bet Jones runs for 75 yards today. If that happens, man, I might teach you how to work on some cars. Let's see. All right, hit us with some questions, not like over-unders on stats. So that is interesting. Did Blake Martinez land on another team? Now, I think there's a 2-week rule where veterans after 2 weeks, their contracts don't have to be guaranteed. Because if like a vested veteran or whatever it is called is on a team week 1, their contract becomes guaranteed for the year. So I'd be interested to see what's happening with that, because regardless of what you think about Blake Martinez, like a team could use him.
Yes.
So I'd be interested. I just can't wait. Honestly, I know it's not the biggest deal in the world, and we're talking about it. Week 2, it's over and done with. But I'm just like, as a fan, I'm interested to find out all the details on that, whether it comes out 3 years from now. Like, I just want to find like whatever happened with Blake Martinez.
But that was like when he was first signed. It was like, wow, the Giants got their linebacker, and he was fun in 2019. Wait. No, 2020. He was fun in 2020. Obviously, 2021 sucked. Yeah, something just I don't know what happened between.
Yeah, and I could also see Blake, like being picky.
Yeah,
like being like I want to make sure I go, go where it's going to help me get my contract next year.
Yep.
PFF keeps giving Tate Crowder awful grades. Is he truly that bad? I thought he looked pretty good in the run game last week. Not perfect, but he looked pretty good. In coverage wise, he had some mistakes, like the touchdown to Dontrell Hilliard, and there was just some other like bad coverage plays. But he's not a good linebacker. Should McFadden start over Calitro? I do think so.
Yes.
Austin Calitro did not add very much value at all last week. I thought he fed up versus the run game pretty badly. He was very bad in coverage. Yeah, I think it's time to play McFadden. They gave McFadden some snaps last week, which means they want to play him. I really think you could see Austin Calitro get like no reps this week, and Micah McFadden get them in the two linebacker sets.
I mean, that would just be the dream if we don't see Austin Calitro for a good chunk of this game and more of Michael McFadden. Now, obviously, he's not going to be like the greatest linebacker to ever grace the earth if he plays today, but I think he would definitely provide more value to us that Austin Calitro has done. It is
Yeah,
done.
McFadden's going to make plays. He's not going to be perfect, but he's going to make plays. And we're talking about playing the young guys, so let's play the young guys. Nick, my man, this is what the NFL is now. You don't just go line up under center.
Especially a Dayball and Kafka's vision of this offense. You're looking at shotgun all day, every day.
Yeah. They'll get there under the center stuff, but they like to operate, quarterbacks operate out of the shotgun in today's NFL. All right, we'll go for another 5 minutes or so, and we'll finish up. So hit us up with some questions.
They're introduced? I wonder who they're going to introduce first today at the tunnel. Is it the defense or is it the offense? It better be the defense.
I could see it being the offense because, for the one home game they did the defense.
Yeah.
In the preseason, and also like you don't have Kayvon or Aziz. I can see it being, and fans like offense more, so they'll do the offense.
That's fair. That's fair.
For the first week in the game, first game of the week.
Who's starting at left guard?
I think it's going to be Bredesen. I think they're just going to do a rotation.
Yeah, another rotation.
Like I think it's going to be the same exact thing as last week. As last week, but Snickety says, or getting more of the snaps at left guard.
Probably still Bredesen if I had to guess. Did he get the more snaps last week?
I think so.
I can pull it up. Hang on. By game.
But I would say Azudu because he was more effective in the run game and that he's a younger guy. And, as bad as Azudu was in the past game last week, and he was very bad. Bredesen was also bad too. Wasn't as bad as Azudu. So I would assume that Azudu probably gets more. So who got more last week? I could see it being like
Azudu
all
got
the scoring
29.
drives have Azudu on the field. That's he got blown up on the Shep touchdown, but that was a fact.
Yeah, Azudu got the 29. Bredesen got 33. So it's close to being even as possible.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's that even. Let's see. How low are the chances of the Giants will generate any pressure? Yeah, I don't think they're going to generate much pressure. A. Froman, will Evan Neal make a big improvement from week one? No, I think he's going to struggle going up against Brian Burns. Bud Dupree gave him some fits, but I think so. Bud Dupree's speed off the edge is better than Brian Burns, but Brian Burns is better using his hands and countering, which I think could give Evan Neal some more issues. So I've kind of went back and forth on that the last couple of days. Like, who's a worse matchup, Bud Dupree or Brian Burns? And I think I'm leaning Brian Burns. But I also do think Brian Burns is one of the more overrated players in the NFL. Like last year, I was going to do a breakdown on him after like the first few weeks because everyone was talking about how Brian Burns was, and I was like, I don't see it. Like he makes some plays plays every game, but like there was never like a time where it's like, man, he dominated. So. Danny King, what will the weather be today?
It's going to be sunny. It's going to be sunny and clear at MetLife today. I think it's supposed to actually be warm as well, so it should be fun. It's going to be good, especially with the first tailgate out in L16. I think they had good weather today. Seeing
the videos from that, and it's like, it always weirds me out. It's like I'm used to seeing tailgates with snow and like dreary weather.
Just absolutely horrible weather at MetLife.
It's like, oh yeah, I forget that it's sunny. But I always pick to go up there, go in the cold. I don't know why. I hate the cold, but yeah. For some reason, I just picked to go up in the cold because I think what? If I'm going to go north, I want to change the scenery from Florida when I go up north.
Yeah, and plus football in the freezing cold, nothing beats it. Nothing beats it.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, a couple more questions. I thought I saw like a Bofa joke in here. I wanted to get at see if maybe I missed it. Someone said ESPN previewing the game right now. Can you guys hear it?
He wasn't great like ball security. So that's something he really wants to focus on. So what can we expect?
Saquon's doing.
Giants head coach Brian Dable talked to me out on the.
All right, wait, bro.
Minutes ago, and I asked him, what are we going to see from Saquon Barkley and this New York Giants offense today against the Panthers?
Well, I think we just got to keep improving. I think we had a good week of practice. Saquon's been a pleasure to coach.
Okay, he didn't say anything.
Yeah, he legit has. That's the most coach talk I've heard in a minute.
Brian Dable gives nothing in press conferences. Like they're almost not even worth watching.
Yeah.
They really aren't. Do you think Daniel Jones is the type to hold that comment Baker made draft day? I think it's going to be. He won't say it publicly, but absolutely, he's a human being.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones is not, his personality doesn't match what he portrays to the public. So, and I have that quote on my camera roll ready to tweet after the game. Like, hey, Baker Mayfield, sometimes you got to win. Did you forget that?
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Like, I don't hate Baker like I did at that point, but I still am holding that against. Do you remember how mad I was at that? Like, I was fighting Browns fans all day. Like, I think our podcast title for that was like War with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was just a dumb quote. It was such a Baker Mayfield type quote. And it's just ironic that after he said that, he basically 2 years later, he got kicked off the Browns because they're like, oh, yeah, you're not that good anymore. We want to
Yeah, they kicked him off for a rapist.
Yeah, like, that's who he lost to.
Let me see if I could find.
I do miss McAdoo's weirdly huge and untailored suits at press conferences. That was probably the greatest coach introduction I've ever seen. That suit,
unreal. Like, dude, it's more important to get your suit right for that than your wedding day.
For real, yeah, honestly. And the fact that so many people approved that, probably his family, so like, yeah, that's a great suit. His wife, probably, yeah, great suit.
So we titled the episode "War with Baker Mayfield and Player Profiles and Projections."
I just like the little.
Whose college record was a measly
The war with
17-9.
Baker Mayfield.
Blows my mind. Some people overthink it, Mayfield says. That's where people go wrong. They forget you got to win. Well, Baker Mayfield, and I started with, first I did the tweet like, hey, Baker Mayfield, I will fight you. And I will fight Baker Mayfield. I know that's such an empty threat because it's online and it'll never happen.
That's such a Twitter threat.
Yeah, like, I obviously am not like really like, hey, let's set this up. I don't have that kind of pull, but I really would.
I don't have that type of pull, but I really would.
2019 Talking Giants was basically like threatening to fight people every other episode.
Yeah, every other weekend.
The war with PFF was beautiful.
Oh, for real. And guess what? Now I pay for their subscription.
I hate when people say that McAdoo would be like, you know who probably wanted Patrick Mahomes? A lot of teams. You had to trade up for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sean Payne was recently talking about how they were expecting Mahomes and Lattimore to be when they picked. So maybe they would have won Mahomes. They probably would have won Mahomes.
Yeah. So
I mean, cool. McAdoo saw a talent in Mahomes, but I mean,
he's still a bad coach. Like, I don't get, like Ben McAdoo would have gotten the worst out of Patrick Mahomes.
Honestly,
still would have probably been really good, but Ben McAdoo probably would have got the worst out of him.
For real.
Let's see. All right, let's Talking Giants versus the World 2019. All right, that's a good way to end. We appreciate you guys. If you guys want to join myself and Justin for the recap podcast after the game, it's patreon.com/talkinggiants. It's $2 a month, or there's other tiers, that you can join and you get better benefits. And there's a post right now out for the free t-shirt raffle. So if you get in on it before tomorrow, you get a chance at a t-shirt. So join us for that. So we appreciate you guys. We'll be back on Patreon after the game. If you don't join Patreon, no pressure. The podcast will be out 8 a.m. on YouTube, on podcast apps, probably in the early morning hours. And we'll have our online report, film review, mailbag, all that type of stuff. So stick with us. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you after the game. Let's win the damn game. Until then, let's go Big Blue.